there! Welcome to Backstage, the series, now with all new lighting. I've had some problems with the overhead light before, just kind of making me look like I was getting the third degree. So now I'm trying some new lighting. Not sure. I'm always envious. Well, let's backtrack. With me today is Billy Seger, who played Michael Predew in Upstaged, the series, and since we're going to be talking about episode 5, this is the episode where Michael Predew makes his first appearance. Hello, Billy. Billy Seger.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going.
Yeah, you having a good quarantine?
It's been interesting. I've had a lot of time on my hands to get stuff done around the house, and I'm starting to ease back into a normal work schedule, which is great. I was very lucky that I kept my job through all this, so I count myself as very fortunate. But yeah, it's been interesting. I actually had a roommate move in right before all of this happened. So if that's not going to test a relationship right off the bat, like, hey, move in and let's just not leave for 3 months.
Yeah,
hey,
right. Let's just live together every second of every day. How's it going now? You guys getting along all right?
Yeah. Oh, it's great. You actually know her, Elena Devar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we've been friends for a long time, and it just worked out that she was back home and she's sticking around for a while, and she needed a place to live, and my former roommates moved out right before this happened, and I had a place, so it's been great.
Yeah,
we've been doing a lot of cooking together and decorating the house and painting, and we've filled our days pretty well.
Yeah, never a dull moment when Elena's around.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Now, for people who don't know, Billy, you are an actor, singer, dancer, choreographer, director, scenic artist. You've done this professionally, and you've had quite a varied and illustrious career so far. So this must be torture for you right now, to be sitting at home doing nothing but cooking with Elena.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of mentioning to you earlier, I would be like almost through production on a show at the Opera House this summer. I would be starting up production on a show at the Rouse Center, and then prepping for another show after that. So it's all been kind of, it's been hard. It's really been hard, and just finding ways to stay connected to the community, and also like making yourself feel relevant in a market that really doesn't exist right now.
Yeah.
Has been challenging. It really has. But on top of, doing the projects around the house, I've been really able to focus on like what my journey is moving forward. Because as you said, I wear a lot of hats, and just kind of pinpointing what the trajectory of my career moving out of this and into the new normal we're going to find ourselves in a little bit. So that's been a blessing in disguise. But yeah, it's been weird. It's been very strange.
Well, for such a creative person, how are you channeling that creativity? I mean, obviously, I'm doing this. I'm doing a lot of writing. For stuff that when things get back on their feet we might be able to put in production or might get some interest in. What about you? What are you doing to fill that creative void right now?
I've been doing a lot of I've been doing a lot of research on like figuring out how to be creative after all of this. So it's like I'm doing the grunt work now so that I have a plan in effect. I teach at a high school. We don't know what our theater season is going to look like in the fall. I have all these different options. I have projects that I want to do, but then there's also projects that I feel like are necessary or are a better option with dealing with the pandemic and just the world in general, with what's happening in the world today. But creatively, for me, one of the biggest things that's been beneficial. I'm also an accompanist at a church in McHenry.
Oh, wow.
And so we've been doing social media outreach. I was doing story time for a while where I would read a children's story and then sing a song. I've been continuing lessons virtually with my students. And just, I have this beautiful piano I'm in my studio space right now. And so that's, when the days get long and hard, I sometimes just sit down at the piano and play a song and just, work on my own instrument as a performer. So it's a mix of things. Just trying to stay sane and keep myself, like I said, make myself feel relevant through this whole mess,
Yeah, I've always wanted to be able to play the piano. Now, I don't want to learn how to play the piano. I just want to play the piano, right?
So what you do is
you
get the piano, how to play piano. You get how to play piano for dummies, and you put it under your pillow at night, and through osmosis, you'll just learn.
Right, exactly. Just lay on my pillow, and next thing you know,
professional advice.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, let's get into episode 5 of Upstaged the series. Before I do, though, I want to ask you a very serious question. Am I fooling anybody into thinking that this is a Grammy back here?
You know what? I didn't notice it before, but now that you're acknowledging it, I definitely think it's a Grammy.
It definitely looks like a Grammy, right? It is actually.
Oh, it's 100%. It's 100% a Grammy.
A Grammy, right?
Yeah.
I got this for Upstaged, which ironically was never released as a soundtrack or musical. So I guess they just sent it to me. No, it's actually a. We bought it at a craft fair. You put your cell phone in there, and it amplifies it naturally.
Oh, you know what? I've seen those before. Do they work? Do those work really well?
They work. It's not gonna replace your Bluetooth speaker, but it's louder than it would be.
On there.
Yeah, it's louder than it would be anywhere. But I put it up here, hoping that we'll get some Grammy conversation started, and then he'll be like, he's won one Grammy. We may as well give him another one.
Why not? Why not?
Okay, so episode 5 of Upstaged the series is titled Annie. It's a very busy episode. It introduces the new crew. It introduces Michael Predu. It has a fascinating subplot involving a dog. We actually had a dog on set for this episode and actually filmed around that. Did you get a chance to watch the episode again before we?
I did. I actually, you know what? I find myself at times just going back and randomly watching like one episode every now and then, just because it's fun, and it's and especially during quarantine, I've been doing that because I miss those faces. I miss the people I used to collaborate with, and some of them I collaborated with quite often, not just on Upstage. So it's just fun to like see us having a good time, creating something really special and cool. So yeah, I go back and watch them periodically. And especially, like I said, during quarantine, it's been like a form of solace for me.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And every time I go back, I find like something new that I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, we did that. Or you can say, look at that nuanced performance that they're giving. Or you always see something new. But what I will say is, upon watching this one again, I love Victoria Ross. I very much love Victoria Ross. I hated your outfit in this episode.
Yeah. He had a progression. Michael had a progression of like, that's pretty bad to like, oh, that's less bad to like, okay, that's passable. Yeah, that's a good look.
And I can remember having this conversation because I had thought, like a blazer, open shirt, lots of jewelry kind of look. And I remember having this conversation, and the upshot of the conversation being, this is how a person like Michael Predu would dress. And because I am a man of a certain age, I decided to opt with that. And It probably is. People who watch it are probably like, that guy is styling, but it.
I just remember bringing in a bunch of stuff and being like, there's a pile of clothes, go ahead.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by the choice, but honestly, it kind of informed the character choices I made. Because you could have this smarmy guy in like a jacket and an open shirt and lots of jewelry, or you could have just like the basic bro,
right,
who like really has no business being in a theater. And that's kind of what informed some of the decisions I made while we were filming. And luckily, they worked out. Like it seemed that we were finding a new trajectory for the character that maybe wasn't considered before.
Yeah,
but it was a weird act.
I love the character that you created with Michael, because I'm a firm believer that in every show that I've loved growing up, and that kind of filters into my writing, is even, and especially in a comedy, even like the worst people have to be likable. There has to be something in that the audience can see in that person that they connect with, or they can admire, even if the person is doing like largely heinous things. And I thought that you really brought that to the character, that you're kind of rooting for him to change a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, he's got the best lines. That's without a doubt. It was so much fun writing him and watching you.
Top of the morning, douchebag.
But you really, like I said, you really were like, I feel like this guy's a decent guy somewhere in there, and you just have to get down.
Yeah, like you said, he has to be. There has to be a redeeming quality, because if the person is being obnoxious or grotesque just for the sake of you not liking him, then there's nothing.
Right. It's just mean.
The meat. Yeah, he's just mean. He's just gross. And you're just like, I don't care about this person. But you want to care about all the characters, whether you're supposed to like them at the forefront or not like them.
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
Yeah, that was the thing that I had. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that the character is. Huh? Have I frozen? Oh, I just got your internet connection is unstable. Awesome.
There you go. Now you're back to normal. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I just got a banner. Your internet is unstable, which is
nice.
Awesome.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. But this character is so different than you personally are. For people that know, Billy Seger is the nicest, sweetest guy in the world, which made it even more fun to write this kind of dialogue and make you say it.
Right.
How did you connect with the character? What did you find in the character that made it easy to play, and did you enjoy playing it?
You know what? I really enjoyed playing Michael, because I typically don't get the opportunity to play a character that's meant to be disliked, even though he has some redeeming qualities. But what I liked about Michael was he had this confidence that being a professional in the theater world, it's hard to there's a lot of self-doubt involved. And what I liked about him is that he was so confident that even any idea that he had, like regarding the theater, or like what he was going to say to a person at a certain time, he just went for it 110%. He didn't hold back. And I think that's a really strong quality in a character is, he says these things that are like kind of off-putting and like, ooh, you probably shouldn't say that to this person, or not a great way to make a good impression. But he was just 100% him at all times. And you and I, and without giving away any spoilers, you and I had talked about it, how there's a redemptive moment or moments for him throughout the series. And we had discussed that prior to filming, so that we kind of had an idea of where the trajectory of this character was going to go.
Right.
And so I thought about those moments that were going to happen later and put them into the first scene, knowing what I knew at that moment or what you had told me at that moment. Even if it wasn't concrete, there was an idea that there was a moment that he had a bit of redemption.
Right.
Or a deeper understanding of why he was the way he was, or why he was doing the things he was doing. So for me, the thing that I really liked most about Michael was just his confidence and how he thought that his way was the right way, and he approached his life that way, which is, it's not something that a lot of people do in day-to-day life. Like, we all always doubt and question ourselves. So yeah.
Yeah, the character type was based on my opinion that in any successful theater venture, there has to be the unstoppable force that's going to push through any obstacle to get it done. And you know, all of Upstaged is filled with different types of people that I met in theater, or different personalities, strengths, and weaknesses that I sometimes combine and sometimes create wholly, put them into a character, and that character represents. And in this case, Michael is that character who, because of all of his faults, he's going to get stuff done, and it's going to get stuff that he believes in, and nothing is going to stand in his way. And again, like you said, that's a very admirable quality that we play a bit for laughs. But I didn't want the character to be like a one-note, just dick. You know, I wanted to.
Yeah. A one-trick pony, if you will.
Yeah, he had to be going somewhere, which is why in later episodes I gave him the motivation he has, which is really interesting in the character because it's seated in that self-doubt that you talked about.
Right. Right.
And I thought that was your whole arc as a character, as an actor, the things you brought to it, just added so much to the series. And if I didn't tell you enough, I'm so grateful for what you brought to the show.
It was a really awesome experience. I had never had camera film experience before, and
I would never believe it.
For that to be my first foray into that realm of entertainment was like, it was pretty cool. I felt so comfortable, and you guys made it felt very fun and exploratory, and I liked the conversations we had about character and about motivation. That's the stuff that, as an actor, that's the stuff that makes or breaks a performance or an experience, is like being able to voice your opinions and have a thorough conversation about a specific moment. And you had such a strong sense of what you wanted the show to be. So having those conversations was super easy.
Yeah.
It was super comfortable. Yeah.
Well, thank you. You had said that you worked with a lot of people that you had relationships with prior to filming, although it was your first time filming.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those in Upstage, you have a lot of conflict with throughout in different ways. I mean, you have Joel Bennett playing Billy, who just has like no idea where you're coming from. I mean, Billy's frame of reference is such a different place that he's mostly confused talking to Michael. And then you have Shannon Lee Day, who plays Liz, who is much more of a direct conflict type relationship with Michael. How was it? Oh yeah, button heads. How was it having those kinds of conflicts, keeping those real in front of the camera while you're such close friends when the action stops?
The two people you mentioned, Shannon and Joel, are two of my nearest and dearest friends. And what I think makes any, friendship or work relationship work is trust. And I feel like we just trusted each other so much, and we were also there to we were there to have a good time and like I said, make something really special. So it was easy. Like, we would joke around between takes, we would practice, we would try things differently. As far as being able to block that out, and just, that's just something that I've always just been very, it's body language, it's the way you say things. I could say those lines in a way, even when Michael's being a smart ass and he's saying things that are not cool, you could say them in a funny way that would be a joke. So it was just
Right.
Shaping it differently and making, and it really just comes down to trust. One of the first days on set was with Shannon and Joel in the scene we're in the cafe.
Yes.
And I remember that it was such a surreal experience for me, because once again, I had never had any experience, but I was there with friends, and we were helping each other through it, and we would kind of coach each other through the scene, and you would step in when you weren't fixing camera angles and stuff. So yeah, I would just say the important thing that helped me get through those scenes that was kind of difficult. I don't want to be mean to Joel. I don't want to be mean to Shannon.
Right.
But there was an understanding that this is what the scene had to be, and we trusted each other to know to separate the two things.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest nuance again, that you caught on to how the character was written, is that there wasn't any real personal ill will in anything Michael says or does. You know what I mean? He's just being himself 100% of the time. And right. Your plan is not to hurt Shannon or Joel or Billy or Liz. You're just, what you see is what you get, and that's how it is. And it's a fine line.
He was unapologetically himself.
Right. And it's a fine line as an actor to be that line between. Did I freeze again?
No, you're good.
Okay, good.
You're caught.
That line between.
Your speech goes, and then you. It's when's it going to catch up? And then it just becomes a rambling of words. But I'm able to keep up with you, so that's good.
Oh, good. I know. I don't know why I'm running hamster on the wheel here. Internet service, I think.
Just on a bike, kind of, just to keep it going.
Use your cheese. Go faster. But there's a fine line between being malicious and just being blunt and straightforward.
Correct.
And I needed somebody who was perceptive enough, skilled, had enough experience, and basically had the inner, I'm going to call it inner charm to not fool the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I always try to cast 90% of the character by who the person is subconsciously, because that's going to carry over to the camera far more than the script or anything else. Is, the camera's going to see who is that person really, what kind of energy are they putting off, what are their, and that's what Michael had, and that's what I needed. So again, just amazed by your performance. I'd never believe it was your first time in front of the camera.
Well, thank you.
But hopefully not your last time in front of the camera.
Holding out for season 2, Jeff.
Yeah, right? It'll be difficult. It'll be tough, but who knows? When all of this,
who knows?
We may just be all Zoom episode.
Zoom episodes. We'll just do a reunion episode like all the other the canceled TV shows on NBC.
Yeah, right. The reunion episode. So one more question for somebody who would like to do film or theater or anything like that. Like I said, you've done this at several different levels, including professionally. And what would you say is one piece of advice that you would give to people who are interested in pursuing a career in the arts the way you have?
Yeah. So, just something we touched on earlier. It's, you know, it's hard. It's no secret that the entertainment industry has a way of bogging you down with disappointment. You know, for every audition that you nail, there's going to be 10 that you don't nail and you don't get the role. And it's hard to like be able to take a step back and realize that, yeah, you're a part of that, but it's not all about what you did in the room. There can be so many other factors that are working against you. It could be, you know, the aesthetic of you with the other person who's playing your other in a scene might not work as well. They might be looking for someone who's taller or thinner, or, you know, there's so many other factors. And it's a lesson that I still have to like remind myself of, is that there are so many things that are working against you already. So all you can do is just go in there and give it your best shot. Mm-hmm. And when you do feel like you failed, it's important to not linger on the failure, but make it more about the lesson you've learned. You know, like so I can evaluate my performance in an audition or in a show and say, this is what didn't work. How can I shape that into something positive, right, that will continue to help me grow as a performer, as an artist in general. And I think, like, to me, that's the most important thing. Like, I have students that I work with, and I tell them all the time, don't be so hard on yourself. And at the same time, don't be scared to push the boundaries and step outside of your comfort zone, because you're limiting yourself and that growth if you don't do that, you know. Yeah. And maybe that's the one thing you need to do, that you learn this lesson in a bad audition or a bad performance, and then you say, well, I'm going to take a step outside this box, and that could be the thing that carries you through your career for the rest of your life. So I would just say, you know, be self-aware, but don't doubt yourself. Don't linger on that self-doubt, because it's not helpful. Yeah. And like I said, I work with high school kids, and some of them go on to study theater in college, and the market only gets more difficult to break into. You know, the higher, like the more the higher the level, as you level up, it becomes more congested, yeah, and more difficult. So give yourself some grace and learn your lessons and move forward and step outside your comfort zone, because you never know what's going to be outside that box, you know?
That's awesome. Awesome. Sage advice from actor, singer, dancer, choreographer, set designer, and director Billy Seger.
That's right.
Billy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, and here's looking to working together again real soon.
Yeah, when the world is not on fire. That'd be great.
Yeah. Will there ever be a time when the world's not on fire?
Probably not.
This is Billy Seger and Jeff Cook saying goodbye, and Grammy Academy. Who runs the Grammy?
Yeah, Grammy winner.
Grammy winner. But I already have one Grammy, people. May as well send me more. That's all I can say. All right, thanks. Have a great time. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.